So, you want to raise your prices, but you don't know how. Better yet, you don't know how to tell your guests. Hi, I'm Kayla, and I am your host of the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast. And on with me today is Jason Everett. Hey, Jason, how are you?
What's up, Kayla? Glad to be on, hanging out on the show. Looking forward to having some
Yeah,
really good chats today about pricing.
I know. I'm really excited. We've talked a little bit about this in a couple different other ways. And so I always love the perspective because I think it's uncommon. And we get a lot of questions into the Facebook group of like, hey, how do I raise my prices and how do I tell my guests? And I was like, what a great topic to bring up and spend a solid 30 minutes talking about what it looks like to just set up your prices in a good way. So to get started, let's first talk about pricing in general. Like, what is a good structure to pricing? Like, let's talk that first.
Yeah. So, what's a good structure to pricing? Is in like, how do you set your prices and how do you do that? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Like, what's a good business strategy to know, before you
Yeah.
even think about raising your prices? How do you know you have good prices in the beginning?
Yeah. So I think there's a couple things. I mean, I think I can tell you the wrong way to do it. Let's start there because I think a lot
Nice.
of people,
Okay.
let's talk about how people screw it up. What most people do when they set prices is they look at their competition and go, I can be in the middle. Like, let's do it. I'm not going to be the most expensive. I'm not going to be the cheapest. I'm not going to be whatever. In my town, a haircut and a blow dry and a color, like this is around the prices that I'm seeing. So a lot of people do a lot of market research. And by the way, it can be dangerous because you don't know what anybody else is priced to be at. Like you have no clue. Did they use any sort of formula? Or you might ask the question of like, well, the last salon I worked at was charging this much for a cut and color. So I'll use their pricing, their menu. So you either do a little bit of research and figure it out. We actually believe, and again, talking about profit, like you should be priced for profit. Like the most important thing you can ever do is price your salon for the amount of profit that you'd like to make in your business. Now, most people are like, well, I don't even know how to do that. That's such a complicated thing. And I'm like, yeah, it is a complicated thing. And if you don't get help when you're pricing it, that can be a challenge. But the general gist of it that I want to make sure I give for people on Profitable Salon Podcast is that your job should be to look at all of the different types of services you provide, look at how much you're going to pay your stylist, look at what the overhead is for your salon, and then use what you want to project forward as profit for that specific service and make sure every service in your salon is at the profit level that you would like it to be. Because if you're in New York City and you're downtown Manhattan and you're right on the corner of Fifth Avenue and whatever, you cannot just charge what everybody else is kind of charging. Like it's very different. And think about it this way. Pricing is dependent on where you're located, right? So if you think about this, is like, let's take a bottle of water. A bottle of water at the grocery store might cost you $1, right? A bottle of water that you get at a state fair might cost you $3 or $4. A bottle of water that you get at the airport, sweet baby Jesus, like it's going to cost you like $10 for a bottle of water at the airport. And you're like, why is this $1 bottle of water the same bottle that I could buy anywhere else at Costco or the grocery store or whatever? Like, because again, depending on where you are dictates the price. But the problem for so many salon owners, and by the way, that's based on profit. The airlines know I'm providing you a bottle of water 30,000 feet in the freaking air. And we got you. Like, we got you. And it also costs a lot of money to transport water 30,000 feet in the air and do all those things. And like a state fair is like, it takes a lot of money to put on the state fair. And yeah, we're going to charge you for it because you're captive. And I don't mean to say like, oh, they're a captive audience, so what are you going to do? But like, they're saying we brought water to this environment that you need this thing. And we're going to take care of you. So if you have a downtown prime location, your pricing is going to be different than if you're out in the burbs working from your spare bedroom. The pricing is going to be different. There's a lot of other things that you got to price on. You also have to price on demand. So like, let's say this. Let's say you put your prices up and nobody walks in the door of your business. Well, you might be priced wrong. You might be priced wrong. But if you have a business that is slammed and busy and like there's a line out the door, it might be time to reevaluate your prices. Even if you're profitable, you might think pricing is based on demand, what people are willing to pay to do it. And again, I use water bottles. I'll use cookies as another example, right? Like the crumble cookies, they cost like $6 a cookie or something. I'm like, it doesn't cost $6 to make a cookie, but the demand for it is high enough. And the way in which they market and they brand and they do all those things commands the price that they're charging because of how they market and what people are willing to pay. And people go, wow, and it is an amazing cookie. It's an
Yeah.
amazing
I mean,
cookie.
stands out against the rest,
Right.
which is why
So
they
same
can
thing is like,
charge
do
more.
you provide something that's better than that other salon that's down the street? Do you have a line of people waiting to do that? So those are all the factors in setting up proper pricing. It's like, how do you set up proper, profitable pricing inside your salon? And you do that based on demand. You do it based on your own availability. Like if you were a suite renter or booth renter that's like, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm super slammed, you probably need to raise your prices. Same with the salon. If you're a salon owner that you have a slam salon, you probably need to raise your prices. Like, and here's the issue. And we'll talk about this as you ask questions, I'm sure, but most people don't raise prices because they're worried about losing clientele.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Starbucks doesn't consider that the same problem. Neither does Netflix. I mean, and by the way, if you don't know this, Netflix recently raised their prices. Disney Plus just recently raised, like everybody's raising their prices right now. And there's right and wrong ways to do it, which I think we're talking about today. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Cause I already think like people get so afraid, like, well, I don't want to charge more because then people will stop coming or people won't. But I know that we've had this conversation before. Like if you charge more, then the people who are loyal,
The
they'll
wrong
stay.
people stop coming.
Exactly.
And they're worried the wrong people are not the wrong people. The people they love. They're like, well, I love, Susan, and Susan's my favorite client and guest and customer. So I'm going to forever only give her this price because I love her so much. I'm like, yeah, but you're actually harming yourself by helping Susan. And self-harm at the benefit of another is not a good idea.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you're
just,
building a business after all. Like
well,
you've got
yeah,
to
I mean,
think
you got
about
to be
business.
aware of it. I mean, maybe there's some people you make exceptions to forever, but just remember that's going to ultimately hurt you in the growth of your company. And if it is how you're doing it. And again, once you move out of that behind the chair mentality of like, I'm behind the chair and there's these guests that I have to do this with them. And by the way, that same Susan that you don't want to raise prices on just had her Netflix price go up. Just had her other price. And you as a martyr, I'm just going to call somebody out on here. You as a martyr are like, everything else went up in price. So how dare I raise my prices? So in the meantime, what you're telling me is it's okay for your family to not eat. Like you're okay for your family to not eat. And you're not going to take care of yourself, and you're going to do damage to your own reputation in your life because you're worried about Susan. Susan will figure out whatever Susan needs to figure out to adjust her life. And she'll probably cancel her Netflix before she cancels her hair service, to be really honest. Yeah. And that's how it should be, is it like everybody's going to see that priority. Susan paid more at the gas pump, more at those things. And you either said as like, well, she's got a problem and I'll fix it, or I'm just going to allow Susan to make her own life choices, and I would still love to be a part of her life. And I need to make sure that I serve Susan the best way by making sure that I raise my price as well so I can remain in business. Because you closing down and disappearing, or you not being able to feed your children, or whatever the issue is not serving Susan, because you can't do that forever. It's not scalable.
Anybody.
It's not scalable.
Yeah, for sure. And then, like we've talked about, like you raise your prices and sure, some people leave, but then the people who stay are paying the more price, and then you can have space to bring in more people who are paying the bigger price, and again, building on that profit. And so getting rid of the wrong people. Okay, so now that we've kind of established that of where to make sure your prices are good in the beginning, what is a good structure and strategy to make sure that you are raising prices at a steady rate, at a healthy, helpful rate for your business?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a formula. I wish I could tell you like every quarter do this, every year do this. Like I mean, if you really want to get down to it, you can go look at some websites that represent what inflation is. And inflation, according to those websites, has come down more than it was a year ago. Like that's one way to look at it. I would rather you price for profit and price for demand than price for the market and the economy and what everything else is doing. The best brands in the world don't create their prices based on what the world's doing. They create their prices based on what they can create. Okay. Wow. So if you think about that for a second, is that this whole concept on setting prices of what you do is like, there's a level of like, what can I create? Like, can I add more value? Can I add more value to the service in order to raise my prices? Like as a salon, how do I make sure the value I give to the guest and client that's sitting in my salon well exceeds whatever price that they're paying? And that value can be not just, well, I can only do cut and color so many ways, Jason. What do you mean? What can I do to raise the value? Well, what is the experience like? Is the experience far supreme to walking into some little, quick service chop shop and going and doing that? Like, do you provide, like some places provide, wine or beer, and some places provide like shoulder massages while you're getting your hair, while you're getting your hair cut done. Like there's just things that can enhance the value of the entire service that makes some services premium and other services basic. So by the way, we're talking about premium pricing strategies here. I like the people who pay attention to what we do at the Academy are not the people that are like, if we can just drop our price by a little bit, we'll gain market share. We don't deal in that type of salon. We typically deal in high-end salons that really usually don't know their value. And if they raise their prices and do all that, they actually could have a more successful business with better clientele and better customers. Like Ferrari is not sitting around going, how do we get the price of this Ferrari down? Like if we could just get it into that market that people could afford it, like we'd sell a lot more Ferraris. That's not it. That's not the move. Like we're talking about luxury pricing and growing and like, how do you put in a different fame? So what Ferrari says is, what's a cool, amazing thing that we could do that nobody else has done before that would set people apart from everybody else? That somebody could say, as a Ferrari owner, nobody else in the world has this. That's what Ferrari asks every single day. And they're like, and if we keep doing that, our clients and customers will always pay it and they won't even flinch when they pay it. Ferrari owners don't go in and say, how cheap can I buy this Ferrari? They're like, I'd like to pay full price for this Ferrari, please, because it's on a wait list. Like it's very different. It's a totally different type of buyer. And I'm not saying every one of your clients is a Ferrari buyer. And you might go, Jason, nobody that comes into my salon has a Ferrari. I was like, yeah, but I want you to take a page out of the book. Like we can swing the example. And by the way, Walmart still does the same thing. How do we increase their profitability? They still like they want it. They want you to perceive that they're discounting things down, but they raise their prices at Walmart. Exactly. They raise their prices at Costco. The only thing that has not had their prices raised at Costco is their damn hot dog, and it's a psych out. It's a psych out to make you think that Costco doesn't raise their prices because they think because they're like their hot dog, they probably should be charging. It's like $1.50 a hot dog. They should probably be charging $4 to $5 for that hot dog. They lose money every time they sell a hot dog, but that hot dog it's the symbol of how price efficient Costco is. And they're like, that $3 we lose on that hot dog every single day makes us hundreds of thousands of dollars on everything else that's bought inside Costco. So Costco raised their price. Everybody else raises their prices. You don't, because you love Miss Sally. And the way you love Miss Sally is by running a successful business and stop worrying about if people can afford what you do. You got to get out of that mindset because people are paying more for everything and it's not your job to fix that problem.
So good, man. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh man, gut punch, then just know that it's you deserve to raise your prices. Yeah, type in the word gut punch and let us know. But yeah, just know that you deserve to price your services in your salon to be competitive and to build your business so that it serves the life that you are looking for. Yeah,
I do want to answer your question one more way too, because I kind of dodged your question, but I do want to give you some level of undodged answer.
Nice.
Is that if you have not raised your prices in 6 months to a year, you're probably overdue. Just giving you some sort of guideline is that if you haven't raised your price in 6 months to a year, you kind of are at a different problem. And that's general for most salons, but it gives you some sort of thing. Most salons at the moment are raising their prices every 6 months to a year. Some salons are raising their prices every quarter. And like, that's a crazy thing to say, but it really is based on like what's going on in the marketplace. And like, and here's the thing, like people understand that I would ask you, have your supply costs gone up at all? Because if your supply cost goes up, you need to pass that cost forward to your clients. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just inching out of your profit margin until it's nothing. So all the work you've done, like you need to say, I want to earn that 10%, 20% profit margin in my business. So if your vendors increase price, if your staff increase price, so too must your prices. It must go up together. So that's why I said price for profit, and you'll be more successful. So that gives you at least a little more solid of an answer, Kayla.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's good to know, like when, give you a little bit of a timeline.
Sure.
All right, well, we're going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how exactly to raise your prices, what to look for, and how to tell your guests.
Boom shakalaka. So, let's do it.
Hang out with us. We'll be right back.
Sustain Beauty Co. has two of the best tools to help you save water, time, and a bunch of money. Join the clean water salon movement with EcoHead's water-saving shampoo nozzles and Scrummy plant-based microfiber towels. Available at sustainbeauty.co.
Are you tired of not knowing what your hair color is costing you on every appointment and watching it chew up your profit? Well, with Salon Scale, we take the guesswork out for you. Using a mobile app paired with a Bluetooth scale, Salon Scale will tell you exactly what your color is costing you, down to the gram. As you mix, Salon Scale will also digitally store your formulas and track how much product is being used in real time, so you can cover your back bar expenses, reduce your color waste, and generate more profit in your salon. Click the link in the description to get 10% off your first year.
Are you ready to increase your retention and revenue and convert website traffic to clients? Then you're ready for Maya. Maya creates better business relationships by pairing the right clients with the right beauty professionals. Use promo code HPSA for your first 2 months free. Visit joinmaya.com to get started.
We're Phorest, born on the salon floor and built for and by hair and beauty professionals like you. Phorest is your marketing, your reporting, your reputation management. You need one easy-to-use system that does it all. Phorest. Together, we grow.
Welcome back to the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast. I'm hanging out with Jason. We are talking about how to raise your prices. We spent the whole first half talking about how to even know if you're pricing correctly based on your area, your business, how well you're doing. Like if you have a full salon, then maybe it's time to raise your prices. So now we're going to dive into how do you raise your prices? I know the question you're probably waiting to hear is how do you tell your guests? So Jason, talk to me about it's time. Your time to raise your prices. Where do you begin? What do you do?
Yeah, well, I think most salon owners know this, but not all. I say most. I would say there's a fair majority that like people know this, and I think there's some debate on it, and I'll talk about why there's debate.
Nice.
I think a lot of salon owners know you don't message all your guests and say we're raising prices, and a lot of salons think that they're supposed to message all their guests to raise their prices because occasionally some businesses do things like that. For example, we were talking about Netflix and Disney Plus. Like I got an email from Netflix saying, due to the increase in demand of all the things on planet Earth, blah, 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 we are increasing your price from $13.99 to $14.99. Okay, thank you, Netflix. But like if Starbucks raises their price, they don't message you and say, just so that you know, your Frappuccino Macchiato Bananarama has gone up by 38 cents since the last time you were here. You're just prepared to buy it again. So, and it's a challenge because in a service-based business, a lot of times people have this personal relationship with their guests. So they feel like if I have a personal relationship with my guests, I have to tell them if I'm going to change something by the time they've done that. But you're kind of in this weird between situation is that the reason why Netflix does it is because they have to notify people that it's going to change and they know that they're going to lose some customers. Yeah. Netflix, you have a contract that you've agreed to with them that this is the price we will charge you every single month. So they're saying, I'm changing the contract.
Yeah, like subscription. So subscription
Correct.
based.
It is a subscription-based contract. So if you had a subscription-based model, like you're a Massage Envy or you have a subscription, or you can't obviously just change that price willy-nilly when you feel like it. But you as a salon owner do not have subscription-based contracts with your clients, which is why you reserve the right to change that price at any time.
Wow.
If they level jump, and somebody in the salon level jumps, it goes to another level and they change their price, you can say, hey, I just want to give you a heads up. I just jumped up another level. And that means there's going to be some awesome changes for you in the future. I've scaled up. I just want to let you know. If you wanted to let people know I've successfully level jumped, that's great. You don't have to say, and by the way, that also means you're going to be paying $4 more for your service or whatever it is, $20 more. It's just a little different thing. But and let them celebrate it with you. Yeah. But what I would say is you don't literally email all your guests and say, over at our salon, due to the increase in blah, 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 we have raised our prices. Here's what you do. You change your prices. Like you decide whether you're going to change it. You modify your prices, and here's what's going to happen. 5% of your guests are going to say something about it. Oh, the prices went up. And 1% of guests are going to be upset about it. 1% or less. It's usually less than 1%. Less than 1% of guests are going to be upset about it, and you're obsessed about that 1%. But that means 99% of people, like, and I said 5% of people are going to notice. Maybe 10% of people are going to notice. You know what's funny? I had my chiropractor raised my prices on me. Like I've been going to this guy for like 15 years. He finally raised his prices by $5 a visit. And I've been going for like 10 plus, 15 years actually.
First time
in 15 years, he raised my price by $5. I high-fived him.
Oh,
I was like, buddy, I'm so glad you finally raised your prices. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, I'm really happy to come in. Like, you haven't raised your prices in 15 years. Like, I really honestly wanted that to punch him in the face a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what you do is amazing. And like the fact that you're still charging me the same price 15 years ago, my gas prices are double. Everything in the world has doubled in price. You raised it by $5. It's like, 50 to $55 or something is what I pay or whatever the thing is. And it's like, it's funny that the right people will acknowledge you. The wrong people will be upset. And some people complain. So here's how you handle it. You raise the prices. You don't let people know. They're not a contract. You raise prices. They go to the checkout counter. And if somebody gives you crap or grief or whatever else is going on, you go, oh, I'm really sorry. If you didn't know that we raised our prices, I totally understand, which I wouldn't necessarily expect you to know. I'm happy to provide you with the exact same price you paid for your last service for this service. But our prices have been raised for our future going forward to make sure that we can accommodate for all the increase in prices that we've had as a salon company. I hope you understand. And if somebody says, screw you for raising your prices, then they weren't really a good client anyway.
Yeah.
If they only stayed with you because you were the cheapest salon on planet Earth that was within their budget, and I know what's going to happen. People are listening to me and they're going, but Jason, Sally Sue is on a fixed income and Sally Sue can't afford anything else. I'm like, well, nobody else in their life has that same level of concern, which you think is a good thing, that you have more concern and more whatever. But in the meantime, that's screwing you and not allowing you to provide you with very good services. So that's what's keeping you from being successful in the salon and spa industry, is that you are making those exceptions. Instead of running a business, you are making personal exceptions for all kinds of things. It's like, if you just gave everybody a friends and family rate, you'd be a great bleeding heart, but you'd also be bleeding broke. Yeah. Right? Like that becomes the issue, is that you've still got to run a business, and the people that treat you like a business will be great customers of yours for years to come. The people who want to take advantage of you will make the biggest stink about your prices, because they know they were taking advantage of you. They know they were, and they're mad they are no longer able to take advantage of you.
Yep.
That's what they're mad about. They're not mad you raised their prices. They're mad that they were taking advantage of you. And that now, and so anyway, I know I'm pissing some people off right now. I know people are listening to this podcast, and they're like, no, screw you, Jason. I want to, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know, but I hope you hear my intention in telling you all these things is that I want you to be able to have a change of heart, to realize that when you can take care of yourself and your family, you're a better servant to your guests.
Yeah.
Versus you think when you sacrifice more, you're a better servant to your guests. When you give up more, when you decide to take an appointment on your time off and your day off and all those things, and you sacrifice your family for that guest that you decided to book in a random spot so you don't eat lunch or whatever else, and you sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice. You think you're doing everybody favors, but you're ripping yourself off. Yeah. I can't tell you enough of how many times I see well-intended people sacrificing themselves for the good of being liked by other people.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said it multiple times, that if you're not making a profit in your business, you have a hobby, not a business.
Yeah. If you're not earning a proper income from your business, or you're not earning a profit, you don't have a business, you have a hobby, for sure.
Yeah. And then if you have that mindset, and if your business is not giving you what you want, obviously people start their business because you want to make money. You want to be able to survive on your business. And if you're not treating it like a business, and you're getting caught up on the people who show up and wanting to provide for them and let them take advantage of you, then you're going to start to resent your business. And it's going to 100%. Have a whole trickle effect on everything else in your business, the way you lead, the way people and your stylists start to feel like they're not paid well either. And so if you're going to have people not feeling like they're paid well, it's just a big mess. So don't do that. Bad idea.
There's a guy out there named Mark Bustos. I don't think I've ever mentioned. Do you know Mark Bustos?
No, I grew up with a family of Bustos.
Oh yeah, not
That's
that
what
Mark
Bustos. I was
like,
interesting.
Mark Bustos,
Really?
There's a guy named Mark Bustos, and he does some really incredible things. He's amazing, works with high-end celebrity clients, and he also does homeless haircuts. He does both back and forth. Super good dude. He does some really cool stuff, and he does that because he grew up in a super poor environment. He was the poor kid getting his hair cut for free. He definitely understands that, but now he's doing these high-end celebrities getting paid thousands of dollars to do their hair, right? So he's always I don't ever want to lose that connection with where I came from, so I do both sides. But he said, what he said is, and this is his quote, he says, I'm expensive or I'm free, but I'm never cheap.
Wow. Ooh.
And it's a really powerful statement, because what he says is I value who I am, and I know when I'm in a mode of giving. But when he's cheap, right? He's cheap with himself and he's cheap with clients. That doesn't serve his purpose. So he knows I'm either going to be one of the most expensive hairdressers on planet Earth, or I'm going to give you my time for free because I choose to do so. But there's not a gray area in between. The problem for a lot of salon owners is they feel like they're giving it well, I'll give a little here and I'll give a little there, versus decide what your giving time is and go donate your time, and then run a real business. But don't make your business a charity in the same frame. Decide when you're giving, decide when you're a business, and it will change your life. And I think that's one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard in the salon spa industry. I'm expensive or I'm free, but I'm never cheap. And I think that's a really, really powerful thing to be aware of.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. And I always learn so much from these things. I love just how impactful and just if you change a lot of rating your business of what I've learned, and just, podcast after podcast and conversation after conversation is your mindset and how you treat your business and how much you respect yourself inside your business really matters and plays a part into running a successful business. Because if you aren't respecting yourself or knowing, like saying like you're getting too involved with the people who come in or the people who work for you or yourself or things like that, then things start to kind of fall apart and you start to lose grasp on the business you're trying to create in the first place.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jason. This has been a lot of fun. I hope that if you were listening, you got a lot of value out of today. If you did, comment value. If you're listening on YouTube, if not, as we always say, scream it at your radio, be like value. And if not, and at the end of the day, if you're like, no, that's not for me. And like you have to decide for yourself. We can give you advice and we can help you give tips and tricks on how to raise your prices and be a more profitable business. But at the end of the day, it's your decision. But we do hope that today you at least got one gold nugget that you can take home 100%. And find better profit in your business.
You got it.
So Thanks, Jason. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time on the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast.
Awesome. You've been listening to the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave us a review, and check us out at ProfitableSalon.com for more episodes, content, and to help you turn your salon into the business you've always dreamt of.